welcome to this video. Today I'll be making beef dumplings with gluten-free wrappers. So I'm going to start off by putting 3 pounds of ground beef into a bowl. So now I have 3 pounds of ground beef in the bowl, and to that I am going to add some green onions. So I got about 12 young, medium-sized spring onions. I just picked them this morning, so that's why they're looking a bit small. And so I'm going to chop them up finely until they're roughly 1 millimeter thick. And so now I'm going to add all my green onions. I have about 1.5 cups in this bowl. So now I'm going to add some soy sauce. Because I got 3 pounds of meat, I am going to use quite a bit. But depending on your preference, you can use 4 to 6 tablespoons of soy sauce. And to that, I'm also going to add about 4 to 6 tablespoons of shao rice cooking oil. So I'm going to add it in. To this, I'm going to add some ginger. I'm going to be doing a couple tablespoons as well. So I'm going to aim for about 2 to 3 inches of ginger. Additionally, I'm going to add a couple carrots. So I'm going to work on that too with the ginger. And I'm actually going to set this ginger aside into this bowl because once I get everything combined, I'm actually going to blend it, and that helps give you a better consistency. So I'll be blending it in the food processor along with the carrots. So for spices, I'm going to be adding some Sichuan peppercorns and some white pepper. So I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of Sichuan peppercorns. These are really strong, so be careful. Top of that, I'm going to add a bit of ground white pepper, so about 1/2 tablespoon, and some garlic powder, along with some fresh garlic. So I'm also going to add some fresh garlic. And I'm going to set the garlic aside with the rest of the vegetables that I'm going to blend in the food processor. So I'm just going to remove the shell on the garlic. So I added about 6 cloves of garlic. And at this point, I've got about everything that I need for the filling. So the last couple of things I'm going to add are some sesame seeds, some sesame oil, and I'm going to have some chicken stock on the side in case I need it and I find that the consistency isn't good after I blend it. So I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of sesame seeds too. So I've got my food processor ready to go, and so I'm just going to be adding the ginger and the garlic. I'm going to give it a quick blend since they're going to be the most important to have small. So after letting that blend, I'm going to take out the main blade, set it aside, and I'm going to put the extension part in so that I can grind my carrots. So I'm going to use a disc attachment so that I can grate the carrots. And if you don't have a food processor, you can mince the garlic and ginger by hand and grate the carrots by hand. So now I'm going to take the carrots and the ginger and everything, I'm going to put it back into the bowl I had for them. And I'm going to add the meat and spice mixture in. Make sure you put your blade back in too. And now I'm just going to give the meat and the ice is a bit of a pulse to whip it. I'm gonna stop slowly and take the lid off so that I can transfer the ground pork, the ground beef with the non-ground portion, just to try to get it all ground up. So off camera, I ended up needing to do this in 2 portions, and I transferred the carrots into this big bowl. And now I'm just gonna stir this all together for a bit, trying to get everything incorporated. And since you'll be filling them later with your hands, you can use your hands to do this, like I will. And if you want your meat to be a bit more juicy and moist, like I will, I'm gonna add a bit of chicken broth to it, just to get some extra liquid in it. And it kind of comes like a soup once you steam it in the wrapper. And so what you're looking for is kind of a pasty substance. And at this point, it smells really good. And so what I'm gonna do, in which you can also do to check if it's seasoned to your liking, is cook a bit of the mix on the stove, just in a little pan, and try it to see what it tastes like, because that's what it's gonna end up tasting like. Alright guys, so my filling tasted pretty good, so I'm gonna move on. If you want to ever use any other vegetables, I've used cabbage before, but right now I'm gonna set this aside over here, and now I'm gonna make the filling. So to make the filling, what I like to do is I'm gonna make some space. So what I like to do is I use the stand mixer, and I use 3 flours that you can basically get at any store, but at Asian grocery stores they're really easy to get. So I like to use equal parts rice flour, glutinous rice flour, which doesn't actually have any gluten in it, and then tapioca starch. So what I'm gonna start by doing is measuring out equal parts of each. So I'm gonna use about 400 grams. I've added 400 grams of each type of flour. So this is what it looks like. And to this, I'm gonna add some psyllium husk to help it stick together. So I've added about 3 tablespoons of psyllium husk, and that's about 35 grams. And so now I'm just gonna give it a good stir to mix it all. And so now I have this all mixed together, and what I'm gonna do is put it in the bowl of my stand mixer, and then I boiled some water, and I'm just gonna add water until it starts to come together. So a couple cups of it, and try not to completely boil it. Usually around 150 degrees is what's good. And this does require quite a bit of water, but you just mix until it becomes into a nice clump, but keep mixing so it doesn't all clump up. So if you can see, I have a good clump of dough that formed, and now you're just trying to really mix it in and get it all homogenized. So at this point, I'm gonna start using my hands and turn this onto a work surface to do the final bits and combining everything. And I didn't fully cover this, so some flour did spray over, but that can be used to dust the work surface. And so I'm adding a bit of extra water to this to help combine it. So I've got this formed into a good ball now, so I'm gonna put it aside and make sure that it stays covered, because if it gets dehydrated, it won't turn out. And so now I'm gonna start rolling these out and filling them. So now I found that the easiest way to do this is actually cheating with tortilla crust to roll these out. So in order to use the tortilla press without getting everything a mess, I like to take a bag and then cut it open. Usually the best way to do this is with scissors too. So now I've got the bag laid out here. And just to make sure that nothing's sticking, I will use a little bit of oil. And now to fill these, the best way to do this is with 2 teaspoons of each. So I take 2 teaspoons of the dough, roll it into a bit of a ball, put it on the press, make sure you have plastic on both sides, and press. There we go, perfectly done. And the next thing now that I'm gonna do, take out the piece, and then I'm gonna put another 2 teaspoons of filling. I find that a cookie scoop makes this quite easy. Just to put a spoon in it, spread it out a bit, and then crimp. So this is a close-up of how you crimp. So what I like to do is to put the filling in the square. I like to spread it out a bit, and then fold it over in half, squeeze in the middle here, and then you're just gonna make 4 folds like this, with the one layer going onto the other, and that starts to curve the dumpling. And then I do it on the other side. And then to make sure it's sealed, I'll go like this with my 2 fingers, with the 2 thumbs, and my hands on the back, and squeeze, and it's perfectly sealed. Alright guys, so I finished doing quite a bit of dumplings. I still have quite a bit more. It does take a while, depending on how much beef you use, so I do suggest that you change the recipe per pound of meat, depending on how many dumplings you want to make. I made around 50 so far, and I probably have another 100 to make, so I would suggest that you check the recipe and you change it to how many dumplings you want to make. With this recipe, I made about 100 dumplings, and my suggestion is to steam them either using cabbage or parchment paper as the liner, and that's the way I do them and I like them. So, I hope that you have the best making your dumplings, and good luck. Thanks for watching.